Shalom, my people. Shalom, 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 shalom. Beloveds, the select few, the elect, the saints, all of you that were called and chosen to do a specific purpose that Yahuwah had planned for your life, right? Your high, that Yahuwah has covered you and shielded you and protected you for during these last ancient of days, these last hours, these end times, right? And I am Emmanuel, as you know, and I have another message, another lesson from a revelation, from affirmations and confirmations I've gotten on that revelation, to give a sermon, to give this message on chastisement. You can look up the etymology of the word chastisement, but we're going to go off of what it states in the Strong's Concordance, in the Hebrew tongue, Hebraic, Abrit language, and so on and so forth. I got a lot of notes here on this Yom. This will be Yom 17 of Quadesh 9. Let me get that put down on here on the board. Write that on there like so. Boom. All right. Yes. And y'all can see that right there. Crystal clear right there, huh? This one. All right. Okay. So, pardon my writing. Excuse my writing. Let me get my witness together. For all of you out there, I got one sitting right here, and I got another right here. So I'm gonna just read the scriptures off. I don't think I got enough space on my small board to write them all down, so we're gonna do Hebrews chapter 12, and y'all can jot this down as we go. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 5 through 11. Haggai chapter 2, verse 17. Lamentation chapter 1, verse 5. Hosea chapter 7, verse 12, and Hosea chapter 10, verse 10. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 11 through 12. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24. Job 5 and chapter 5 and verse 17. Job chapter 33 and verse 19. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 32. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 24 through 31. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, 13, verse 13 and 14. 2 Samuel chapter 7, verses 14 and 15. We have Revelation chapter 3, verse 19. We have Leviticus chapter 26, verse 28. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 5, and chapter 11, verse 2. We have Psalm 94, 12 and 13 verses. Psalm 89, verse 32. Psalm 73, verse 14. Psalm 6, verse 1. Psalm 38, verse 1. Psalm 101, verse 3. Psalm 106, verse 43 and 44. Psalm 107, verses 17 and 21. Psalm 107, Psalm 107, verses 23 to 31. Psalm 118, verse 18. Psalm 119, verse 67. Psalm 119 and verse 71. So we probably do verses 67 through 71 there in Psalm 119. Isaiah 26 and verse 16. Isaiah 42 and verse 25. Isaiah chapter 53, verse 4 and 5. Isaiah chapter 57, verse 16 to 18. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 30. Actually, chapter 2, verse 19 through 30. And Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 11 to 14. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 18 to 20. And Jeremiah 46 and verse 28. Everybody got that? If not, just circle back and replay it back, rewind it back. But before we get started, I just want to give all the credit where it is due and do my due diligence to give all the worship to Yahuwah Alua Elohim for bringing me to this space, to this place, to be in front of you, Akis, Akadis, the Quote Hashem, the Kadashim, the Mishpachah. All honor, praise, and esteem and exaltation to the Most High Abba Yahuwah by way of Yahusha HaMashiach and through Yahusha HaMashiach. So help me, and let's get started, shall we? Let's begin. So I wanted to show y'all, let's put that right here. I want to show y'all the Strong's Concordance as well. We have two witnesses for the Strong's Concordance of the word chastisement, which is H3256 and H4148. I'm gonna slide over there real quick and find it. Okay. 32 and 56. Yasar. Yasar. Yasar says to chastise, right? Hence to instruct, bind, chasten, chastise, correct, instruct, punish, reform, reprove, soar, and teach. Which means we, as a people, as a nation, Gentiles included, we have to be open to correction, reproof, and rebuke, all in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, all in the namesake of Yahushua HaMashiach, so that we may be not just in repentance, but in reformation, transformation, so we may be restituted, so we may be redeemed, right? Every revitalized, rejuvenated, replenished, refreshed, renewed. A lot of times, oftentimes, we get a level of understanding that, quite frankly, could be surface level. And we end up being satisfied and content with that because we're dealing with our hormones, we're dealing with our feelings, we're dealing with our emotions, and it gives us that sensation, right? It gives us that sentimental value. It gives us that warm and fuzzy, so we get complacent and stagnant and don't want to budge and don't want to move, when it's time to do so. we find ourselves not teachable. You know what I'm saying? We have to be found without spot, without blemish, you know, without blame. You know, when Yahusha HaMashiach gets back here. So it would behoove ourselves to, if we're in error and we're wrong, you know, we have to accept the chastisement. And, you know, as the scriptures read, you know, Yahuwah chastises those whom he loves, which we're going to dig into that. You know, we're going to dive in, take a deep dive. I want to go over to the second witness of the same chastisement word in Hebrew language, Hebrew tongue, which is H4148. Let's go over there now. H4148. Musar. M-U-S-A-R. Properly. Chastisement. Reproof. Warning. See? Warning come before destruction, right? And pride goes before a fall, and a haughty spirit. Y'all know how the reading goes. Y'all know how the scripture goes, right? Instruction. And we get our instructions from Yahuwah, the Most High Abba himself. It says bond, chastening, chasteneth, chastisement, check. That's what a lot of us need. If we are in a spirit of haughtiness, in a spirit of pride, when we're not coachable, we're not mentorable, we're not teachable. We feel as though we can't learn from others, or others are not supposed to preach to us or give us a sermon or teach to us. We have to do a self-evaluation. We have to do a self-assessment as to why are we like that? What is operating on us, within us, in us, that is not of Yahuwah, Alua Elohim, that is not of Yahusha HaMashiach, getting us to not compromise and not improvise when it comes to Yahuwah's word. Because there is surface level understanding, and then there's righteousness and truth and right ruling in those instructions to be had from Yahuwah. You know? So if we get to a point where, oh, can't nobody tell me nothing, can't nobody da-da-da-da-da, blase, whoop-de-woo, screw-de-whoop-de-whoop-whoop. Oh, they can't teach me nothing. She can't teach me nothing. He can't teach me nothing. Not him, not her. They don't want to hear it from you because it's you. But it's not you who breathed these words out. The scriptures tell us that Yahuwah, that the scriptures are Elohim breathed. That Alua Elohim breathed this word out. It's all about him. It's all for him. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? So we don't need to be so quick to write people off, you know, and we can't even thumb it down ourselves. You know, we're having a rough time trying to figure it out, trying to put our finger on it, trying to wrap our minds around it and grasp the concept, get the gist, understand, overstand, and comprehend and understand. Like what's understood don't have to be said, right? That's only if we're studying to show ourselves approved. That's only if we're doing the research for ourselves. And you know, you can't go off of just your own understanding. Lean into your own understanding. That's where the demise come from for a lot of folks. That's where the doom and gloom come from. That's when all the condemnation spirits start coming in. You know, the judgmental spirits, the Kundalini spirits, the Cambion spirits. Now you're just to and fro. Now you're looking to the left and to the right. Now you here, you there, here a little, there a little, you all over the place. No, we got to reel this stuff in and be receptive to correction, open to reproof, open to chastisement, open to discipline. That's the whole thing. It stems from obedience. Obedience equal discipline. Discipline equal obedience. Straight out of the Strong's Concordance. Straight out of these scriptures. Once we dive in, once we dig in. Instruction, rebuke. Open rebuke is better than a secret love. Open rebuke is better than fake love. See, if you can rebuke a wise person and they'll love you for it. You rebuke a fool and then they strike you, they smite you, they smote you, they hate you for it. Because the fool want to remain a fool. The fool returns to the folly, and the dog returns to the vomit. You see what I'm talking about? We're going to tap into a little bit of Proverbs today. I got a couple of scripts over there that I was led to share with you all today. But that was the two witnesses as far as chastisement. I think chastisement itself, by itself without the Hebrew connection, is Latin. So, and y'all can take the time out and be vigilant and look into Merriam's Webster Dictionary, Strong's Concordance if you got this, and Google, pull it right up as well. So let me put that back. Let me open up one of my other witnesses, and I'll be in the Tanakh a little bit today. What else we got here? Definitely will be in the Tanakh a little bit. I will be in the Nabim prophets today. I'll be in the Ketuvim, the writings today. I will also be in the letters of Shaul a little bit. You follow me? And I think that will about do it. I kind of want to start this thing off in the Ketuvim, just to, because the Proverbs is already opened on my podium right there for my scriptures. But let me see. Yes. Starting off in Proverbs chapter 3, guys and gals. Okay. Let's get this. Let's get this thing going. Proverbs chapter 3. Stick that right here. Just for my reference. For my prop here. Okay? Okay. I think I'll leave that up there. For the time being. Chapter is Proverbs. Or the book is Proverbs, and the chapter is 3. Right? Right. Let's read. My son. You hear that? Plural, because he has many sons and daughters, right? Many children that are his. Do not despise the discipline of Yahuwah. Oftentimes, a lot of times we get rebuked or edified or convicted from a person or place or thing for the very things we was trying to, get a grip on. And then Yahuwah will use use another vessel, another temple, to be that source for you, for him to discipline you or teach you or instruct you or reproof you or correct you or even rebuke you. He chastises those who he loves. And if you despise his right ruling, if you don't delight in his right ruling, his Torah, his instructions, his laws, statutes, and commandments, if you don't delight in it, you're now grieving the Ruach HaKadosh. You're now grieving. If you're indisciplined and disobedient, you're now grieving the Ruach HaKadosh. Can't make this up. It says, and do not loathe his reproof. You know how people, when they get sick and tired or something, or they get fed up, they blowing smoke, they blowing steam, they sucking their teeth. Man, doing all of them gestures, doing all of this obscene, out of line, off the wall, off the chart stuff. That is what this is talking about right here. If you loathing, that means you sulking. That means you're pouting. That means you're moaning and groaning. That means you're griping. That means you're complaining. That's what that means. And I can see we're going to have those instances where we're going to weep and we're going to lament and we're going to mourn. But it's a time and place for all that. It's a time for everything. There's nothing new under the sun. But at the same token, we don't need to be complaining about doing what he tell us to do, because we could have already been done for. We could have been already done away with. He could have already offed us, could have already unalived us, could have already, killed us off, and ousted up out of here. So we need not to loathe. It says, for whom Yahuwah loves, he reproves. You see that? He rescues and he delivers those that he loves. That's what he does. And he don't need our help to do that. Only thing he asking us to do is the Father's business. That's the work that he cut us out for, that he set us apart for, right? He don't need our assistance on fixing us as a person, as an individual. He loves you, but you have to, delight in him. You have to be pleased, satisfied, content, comfortable, cozy. He is efficient. He is proficient. He is sufficient. He is enough. You have to be happy in the beauty of that. You have to be rejoiced and glad to bear witness to that, to be in that number, to be in his presence, in his set apart call, in his shelter, in his strong tower, which is Yahushua HaMashiach, the body of Mashiach, the body of the Messiah. It continues. It says, as a father, the son whom he delights in. For whom Yahuwah loves, he reproves, as a father, the son whom he delights in. See, Yahuwah loves more than anything to shine his light upon you, to shine his countenance upon you, and to shine upon your face. But you must, comply and adhere to him, to his words, to his instructions. That way, you won't be a spiritual blockade, because a lot of us, when we get spiritually enlightened and spiritually awakened and get spiritually discerned, now we're taking it a step further. We going, getting carried away. We're going to the extent being extra, doing the most, doing too much, going over the top, above and beyond, thinking we know it all now. We don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. We don't have all the resolves. We don't have all the resolutions. Like, our weaknesses are still being perfected in Yahuwah's strength. So we must give account, you know, and while we're living and breathing, while he's giving us breath, we should be living our life as we're giving account right now, you know. So the things that Yahushua HaMashiach had to go through, and knowing that he had to go through it, you know, and still went through with it without griping. You remember when Judas, Yahuda, Iscariot, snitched on Yahushua HaMashiach and turned him in? He told him to go, do what you have to do, and hurry up. Because he already knew that he was going to betray him. He already knew that he was going to turn his back on him. He told Kaffa, Peter, the rock, you're gonna, when the clock crows 3 times, when the clock crows, you're gonna deny me thrice, 3 times. And despite the reproof, right, and the rebuke and the correction and the chastisement, he still loved them. He still loved them. Even though Thomas was doubting. They like to call him Doubting Thomas. He doubted when they said, "Oh, well, Yahushua arisen," and he arose, and I saw him when Mary Magdalene seen him, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta see the wounds and the scars. I gotta see the hole in his hand." And when he came, he reproved and rebuked and chastised and corrected Thomas. When they was on that boat during the storm, right, and Yahushua was sleeping, he reproved and corrected and rebuked the storm, right? Calmed the winds and everything else. He chastised Kaffa when he called him out that boat to walk on the water with him. When they saw him walk on water, like how Yahushua did. You know what I'm talking about? So that's just a sample example of, you know, analogy of reproof and rebuke and correction, chastisement. Again, let's hit the witness. The witness says this. It says, "My son, despise not the chastening of the Alua Elohim, neither be weary of his correction, for whom Alua Elohim loves, he corrects, even as the Father, the Son, in whom he delighteth." And it's like, keep his words, like take it literally. You know how when we get picked on, right, and we get teased and we get ridiculed, because you know Yahuwah said we're gonna get persecuted. We'll be persecuted for his name's sake, right? And when these things come about, we don't like it. No, of course not. We don't like it, but we have to hold true and stand firm and be steadfast. Great is his faithfulness. We have to keep his commands, keep his laws, keep his statutes, keep his words, guard his words, and the rest, he take care of that. He's going to make a way out of no way when there seems to be no way. He's going to make the impossible possible for his children, for his sons, and for his daughters. Let's take it to Proverbs chapter 13 now. Proverbs chapter 13, and verse 24, it reads this: he who spares the rod, he who spares his rod, right, hates his son, but he who loves him seeks him with discipline. So that means if you don't, you remember how a lot of us, we're old school, right? Some of us are from the old generation, from the old adage, the old era. We got whoopings, right? We got beatings. We got spankings. You know what I'm saying? We got toe up. Whatever your parent or guardian can get their hands on, that's what you got your tail in busted with, right? So a butt whooping. It's like, if you don't chastise your child, if you don't correct them, reproof them, rebuke them, you don't like them. You hate them. If you're not trying to ensure that they on the right track and training them up in the way they should go, like the script say, right? And so when they're older, they on depart, then that means you have disdain and contempt and scorn for your child. He who spares the rod. If you love your child, your son or your daughter, you're gonna discipline them so that they are what? Obedient. Correct. I'm gonna mark these off as I go. So y'all excuse me really quick like. So yes, let's do that. Let's do something like that, right? Boom. Now let's visit Psalm Tehillim for some of you. Let's visit Psalm now, right? Started off at Psalm chapter 6 and work our way up, shall we? Psalm chapter 6 and verse 1. Let's get the witness up there. Psalms chapter 1, chapter 6. Right there. O Yahuwah, do not rebuke me in your displeasure, nor discipline me in your wrath. See that? There are times where Yahuwah may be displeased, disgruntled, discouraged, or disheartened by our behavior, by our disobedience, by our indiscipline. And I say our because none of us have got it all together yet. You know, we're a long ways from where we were or who we used to be or who we once was, but we're still getting to that highest version, peak version of ourselves. So we're transcendent in our highest frequency, our highest levels of vibration. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna rebuke indiscipline. He's gonna rebuke disobedience. He's gonna chastise from this very scripture we're reading out of, his very words. You know, so it would be best for us to not provoke him to anger, not provoke him to wrath. You know, so even in your palals, with petition and supplication and thanksgiving, you know, you have to ask him for his grace and mercy, on top of asking him for wisdom, and he give it unto you freely. That way you won't come against, because indiscipline and disobedience is like enmity to Yahuwah. Enmity, you know enmity? You know what that means? That means adversary. You know, that means enemy. You follow me? So let's look at the witness right here. You know, yes. we gotta beg and we gotta plead. We gotta beg and plead. It's our plea in our request, our prayer request for His grace and mercy. You know, not to abuse it, but not to take it for granted, but to, you know, delight in it, as I've stated, because this is some serious business. Like, this is not something that a lot of people do. Like, a lot of people are not on this walk. You know, it's not for the faint at heart. It's not for the weak at heart. So, being coherent to what Yahuwah says is very volatile, and to keep up and stay put, stay in that number. It says, O Yahuwah, Elohim, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chastise me in thy hot displeasure. You see that? And like I had said before, like, if Yahuwah dealt with his hormones like how we do, if he was in his feelings and in his emotions about our ways and our wits about us, and what we're slacking in and what we're lacking in, if ever we're lazy, last days go slothful, and just like that, the snap of a finger, drop of a hat, He could have did away with us, and this whole earth would be wiped out. This whole world would be wiped out, tossed aside, because of His causing to be wrath, His displeasure. So we got to stay in His great graces. You know, we have to stay there. We have to stay in His merciful graciousness. You follow me? Okay. So I'm gonna mark that off. Guys. There you go, right there. Boom. Let's do Psalm 38 now. Psalm 38, verse number 1. O Yahuwah, there's the witness. O Yahuwah, do not rebuke me in your wrath, nor chastise me in your hot displeasure. Same like chapter 6 right here. Let me scoot over there to the witness side of things. O Allah Elohim, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chastise me in thy hot displeasure, for thine arrow stick fast in me, and thy hand pressure in me sore. So, the one thing about it is, Yahuwah hates sin. Thoughts of sin, desires of sin, acts of sin, deeds, actions, whatever have you, of sin. Sin is like a burden to yourself, and it's a burden to Yahuwah. It's a burden to Yahuwah. And the thing we have to remember is, we do what He says do. We don't have to worry about the displeasure or the wrath coming down, raining down upon us. And we won't have to ask Him not to do us in. You know, 9 times out of 10, it's folks in the world that are still in sin. It's folks in the world that are still, without a hint, clue, idea of what to do, still lost in the sauce, still under the veil, still blindfolded, still swindled, still bamboozled, and had not come into agreement with this truth right here, with this right ruling and righteousness right here. So, and this is how he feels. This is the emotion. This is the feeling. This is the hormones. If this was what Yahuwah based everything on, we'd be all said and done. I'm trying to tell y'all, folks. trying to tell you. Let's do let's go up to Psalm 73 now. I might skip around here and there, but we'll get them all. Psalm 73. And the verse is 14. Pull up the witness 2. Verse 14, and it goes like this. For I am plagued all day long, and my reproof is every morning. Go over here to the witness. For all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning. See, he chastised the righteous. Why you think Yahuwah, right, wakes us up during those watch hours? For one, it's chastisement. And for two, it is what your calling is, what your purpose is. Are you a prayer warrior? Are you a forerunner, floor runner, front runner? Are you standing in the gap? Are you standing in the trenches? You know, either or, he has awakened you during them watch hours so he can chastise you. He's chastising the righteous. He's correcting, reproofing, rebuking. He's binding, breaking chains, shackles, handcuffs. He's providing reproof, rebuke, correction, chastisement during those times. You follow me? During those hours. He is washing and cleansing and purging and purifying during those times. He convicts during those times. He edifies during those times. So you have to be able to discern it and perceive it, or it's going to pass you by and you're just going to miss the mark. So we need to stay cognizant of that. Psalm 73. Let's do Psalm 89 now. Psalm 89 and verse up 32. And it reads this. Then I shall visit their transgression, look at that, with the rod, and their crookedness with flogging. Let's go over to the witness right here. Then I will visit their transgression with the rod, and their iniquity with stripes. See, like Yahuwah's contract and agreement is everlasting upon everlasting, right? It's eternal. It's steadfast, it's loyal, it's committed, it's faithful, it's royalty, it's regal. And he's going to uphold it. You know, rather one has chosen indiscipline, disobedience, or not. His word still stands until the end of time and even beyond that. You see what I'm saying? You can't make this up. It's self-explanatory. It's like a lot of the transgressions and iniquities, you know what I'm saying, wrongdoing, shortcomings, and sins, they pile up. Especially unrepentance, like, you know what I'm saying, people that are unrepenting, unyielding, unforgiving, you know what I'm saying, not remorseful, and stuff like that. They're going to bear their shame as disgrace. Like, it's going to set them up for a butt whipping, like for a butt cutting. You see how he says he's gonna visit the transgression with the rod, and with the iniquity with their stripes. He's gonna whoop on them. He's gonna whoop them ones that died in their transgression, in their sin, in their iniquity, in their wrongdoings and shortcomings, they gonna get struck with the rod, the whip, the right hand, whatever you want to name it and call it. So the chastisement is very, very integral to accept from Yahweh. Okay? You guys got that? All right. Let's do Psalm 94 now. Let's go right over there. Psalm 94. And verses 12 to 13. Baruch is the man you discipline, O Yahweh, and instruct out of your what? Torah, which is the Tanakh, to give him rest from the days of evil until the pit is dug for the wrong. See that? Let's go ahead and get the witness. Baruch is the man whom thou chastenest, O Allah, Elohim, and teachest him out of thy law, that thou mayest give him rest from the days of adversity until the pit be digged for the wicked. See what I'm saying? The wickedness of evildoers is gonna go down in the pit. They setting up a whole snare, a whole ditch for themselves to fall in. You know what I'm talking about? If they do not receive chastisement and correction and reproof and rebuke, if they are not repentant, if they don't come to the acceptance of Yahweh's word, of his contract, of his agreement, of his Torah, his Tanakh, which we're gonna tap into that too when we get over there. I'm over here in this in the writings right now, but let me cross that out. Psalm 101 now. Let's go over there. 101 and verse 3. I set no matter of Belial, which is Baal, obviously, before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It does not cleave to me. You see that? We got to cleave and cling to Yahweh. Allah Elohim, to Yahusha, HaMashiach. Because he's not Yahweh, Yahusha. He's not falling for the tricks of the trade of Baal, of Baal, whatever you want to call him. He's not falling for the charades, the shenanigans, the hooligan activity that Baal is doing. Yahweh sees past all measure. He knows all things. He sees all things. And he hates the work of those that fall away with the wicked master, with the wrong master, with the evil one. You see what I'm saying? And he says they do not cleave to him. Let's read the witness right here. Verse 3 and 101. Right? I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. Yet I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. You see that? And Yahweh is after a soft heart, right? He's after a cleansed heart, purified heart. He's after one that's seeking him, asking of him, knocking upon the door. He is seeking a humble heart, a perfect heart. He is seeking that you walk with a heart of his, chasing after his own heart. If you're not doing that, he says that you're not cleaving. And he's got to chastise you for that. He's not having all of this wicked behavior evil behavior before his sight, before his eyes, before his throne. And this is why this chastisement message, revelation, is so special and unique to deliver this today. And let's keep it moving right here. Yep. Psalm 106. Let's scoot over there. This is good stuff right here. This is great stuff. Psalm 106. 44, 43, and 44. Let's read what it says. Many times he delivered them, but they rebelled in their plans. So they were brought low for their crookedness. But he will look on their distress when he heard their cry. You follow that? Let's get the witness. Okay. Many times did he deliver them, but they provoked him with their counsel and were brought low for their iniquity. Nevertheless, he regarded their affliction when he heard their cry. See, even though he is made to wrath, his anger don't last. Like his wrath don't last, right? And he still sheds mercy upon you. Like he still is merciful unto you despite the crookednesses of your ways. So and that by itself, mercy, just that one thing is chastisement, correction, reproof, and rebuke. Because people don't notice, like another day of breath, of fresh air to breathe in and out, another day that you woke up is his mercy. Yet again, even though he's been upset, like he's been upset about he's been upset about people's wickedness, man. Is not only displeasing, disgruntling, or discouraging, or disheartening. It's disappointing for him. And then he still hears the cries of those who are, oppressed, or who are subject to his wrath or been extorted. So it's disappointing for him. That's a great way to that's a great term to use, terminology to use right there. So we don't want to keep disappointing him. Let's do 107 and verse 17 to 21. Let's get over there. Right. It reads, fools, because of their transgression and because of their crookednesses, were afflicted, there being loathed all food, and they drew near to the gates of death, and cried out to Yahuwah in their distress. He saved them out of their troubles. He sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their destructions. Let them give thanks to Yahuwah for his loving commitment and his wonders to the children of men. Let's get the witness right here. 107. Fools, because of their transgression and because of their iniquities, are afflicted. Their soul abhorreth all matter of meat, and they draw near unto the gates of death. Then they cry unto the Elua Elohim in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses. He sent his word and healed them, and delivered them from their destructions. Oh, that men would praise the Elua Elohim for his greatness, his goodness, and for his wonderful works to the children of men. See, not only does transgression provokes Yahweh to anger, provokes him to wrath, causes him to be upset, but he's also capable and able exceedingly abundantly to deliver you from those transgressions. That's chastisement. Deliverance from transgression is chastisement as well. Mind you, and we ain't even done with this chapter. Let's go a little further. Let's do 23 to 31 now. Let's read that. Those who go down to the sea in ships, doing work in many waters, they see the works of Yahweh and his wonders in the deep. For he commands and raises the stormy wind, which lifts up the waves of the sea. They go up to the heavens, they go down to the depths. Their being is melted because of evil. They celebrate and stagger like a drunkard, and all their wisdom is swallowed up. Then they cry out to Yahweh in their distress, and he brings them out of their troubles. He caused the storm to be still, so that its waves were silent, and they rejoice because they are hushed, and he leads them to the haven of their delight. Let them give thanks to Yahweh for his loving commitment. And he mentions giving thanks both times, right? For deliverance out of duress, stress, right? Distresses, worries, concerns, doubts, questions, comments, remarks, statements, replies, you name it. He delivers them out. He delivers you out of them all. Let's get the witness over here. What does the witness say? There it is again. Deliverance from storms, deliverance from snares, from pits, from traps, from the quicksand, from the mud, from darkness. He is the deliverer. The deliverance itself is the chastisement. I hope you guys are hanging in there with me. Guys and gals, Akis, Akudis, beloveds, Kadashim, Mishpachah, Talmudim, the taught ones, right? Hopefully this is making a disciple out of all of us, because that's what Yahushua was sent here to do. He came to show, prove, and express how to be a disciple, and he gave out discipleship. And hopefully this is what this is doing today. And I feel the ruah. I feel the warmth, the heat from this right here. I sure am. Let's read Psalm 118. Let's keep it moving. 118 and verse 18. Let's get over there now. Psalm 118. 118 verse 18. Yahuwah has punished me severely, but did not give me over to death. Woo, how deep is that? Y'all heard that? The Elua Elohim have chastened me sore, but he hath not given me over unto death. This is, he rejoices over you with gladness, with singing, like the harp and the lyre, like the trumpets, like the flute, like the trombone, like the ram's horn, the shofar. He rejoices over your salvation. He rejoices over your deliverance. And when you get that, that was chastisement. A lot of people overlook this, but you can't unsee it. You can't not see it. If you're overlooking it, you need to look harder. Look a little closer. Chastisement is deliverance, is salvation. It brings Yahuwah happiness. It brings him gladness to see that you're giving effort, energy, trying to come out of the things that befall you. You see what I mean? Because he could have easily took your breathing. You follow that? So let's keep it right on going. Psalm 119 now. We're gonna read verse 67 to 71 in chapter 119. Okay? Skip over there real quick. 67 to 71. And it goes a little something like this. Before I was afflicted, I myself was going astray. Look at that. But now I have guarded your word. See? You are good. You are great. And do good. And do great. Right? Teach me your laws. The proud have forged a lie against me. With all my heart I observe your orders. Their heart has become like fat without feeling. I have delighted in your Torah. It was good, it was great for me that I was afflicted, that I might learn your laws. You see that? Now let's go to the witness over here. 119. One page, go back a little bit. 67. 67. Yep. This is for us to abide by Yahuwah's rule and reign, right? To abide by his words, comply, adhere to, coincide with, receive, resonate with. You know, that's what this chapter entails in those 4 verses. You follow me? So now that we're out of the writings, let's take it to the prophets now. Let's do that. Let's go to Isaiah. That's a little bit before Jeremiah. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 16. Let's go over there. Verse 26 and 16. O Yahuwah, in distress they shall visit you. They shall pour out a prayer when your disciplining is upon them. You heard that? Okay. Right over there to the witness. Yahuwah, in trouble have they visited thee. They poured out a prayer when thy chastening was upon them. So that means even though you're being grounded, even though you're being punished, it seems, or you're in timeout, you know how when you're a little youth, adolescent, you're a toddler, or you're small fry, you know, you little young grasshopper, young jitterbug out here, and your parent guardian put you in timeout because you being bad and you being naughty, right? So that means, hey, even though I put you over here, you know, just for a stint, for the time being, and you know, I still am watching you. right? I'm still looking after you. I'm still guiding you, covering you, aiding you, assisting you, lending to you. I'm still protecting you. And so we ourselves, we gotta keep looking towards Yahuwah, setting our sights on the things that are above, facing the east, setting our thoughts above, our desires above, face the hills where our help and our strength come from, where our empowerment come from. A mind that stays on Yahuwah. That is what Yahuwah is searching for within us, especially as it pertains to this chapter and verse. Everybody get that? Okay. Let's do Isaiah 42 now. And the verse is 25. You follow me? So he has poured on him his burning displeasure. See that? And the strength of battle, and it set him on fire all around. Yet he did not understand, and it burned against him, yet he did not take it to heart. Go back a little page. Okay, yeah. Same thing. The witness over here, this is Yahuwah is going to judge. So he's going to judge the displeasure that he has had over those that have caused him to wrath. And don't remain there. Don't stay there. Because if you perish with a lack of knowledge, you're going to be judged just as you are. You're not going to be judged based off of, not knowing. Because he's giving you enough time to know. And the age limit, the age requirement in the Torah is already up. Like the jig is up. Chance after chance after chance has been given. Opportunity after opportunity after opportunity has been given. Shot after shot after shot has been given. But it's a fateful thing to fall into the hands of the living Alua Elohim, as it states in Hebrews. It is a fateful thing. It is dreadful. So I highly advise for us all to clean up our acts. Me, myself, you out there watching, whoever else is going to come across this video, and those who are young, coming into the faith, babes in the faith, right? We got to get it together. Get it squared away. Let's read the witness before I turn the page. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it hath set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him. Yet he laid it not to heart. So it's not for us to take it to heart. That we're not getting certain things. It's like it's because of indiscipline and disobedience we're not getting certain things that we ask for, that we palau for, that we pray for and request, right? And petition, supplication, and thanksgiving, we can be a weapon formed against ourselves. And that's where the judgment comes in at. That's when the chastisement comes in, the reproof and the rebuke and the correction. That's where it stems from. Us not following the way. And you can go as far back as forefathers, ancestors, and elders, right up until us, and the next gen and the new gen, whatever you want to call it. We gotta stay deeply rooted, established in Yahuwah's word, right? That way his judgment is not brought about our being, our carcasses. You would much rather be redeemed in salvation and deliverance than to be judged by Alua Alehim, Yahuwah. All right, guys and gals? Okay. This is Isaiah chapter 53 now that we're about to cover. And the verses will be 4 and 5. 4 and 5. Let's read that. Truly he has borne our sicknesses and carried our pains, yet we reckon him smitten, stricken by Alua Alehim and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our crookednesses. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. Y'all heard that? So, let's get over here and get the witness. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him, exalt him, stricken, smitten of Yahuwah, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with the stripes are healed. See, Shalaki, let me read verse 4 again. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem, exalt him, stricken, smitten of Yahusha, right? And afflicted. So even the burdens and the anxieties and the cares and the sorrows we tote, that we carry, we think that's spiritual heaviness. Imagine how much spiritual heaviness that Yahusha carried with those sorrows. So we can't sit there when we don't get our way and boo-hoo about not getting our way when we wasn't receiving chastisement. We wasn't taking heed to warnings. We wasn't taking heed to red flags. We wasn't taking heed to the caution that he set out. And he makes it very apparent. It was made very obvious what those signs were, what those warnings were. And so when we don't get the Baruch, when we don't get the favor, and we don't get the Barakah, we want to be in sorrow. But I'll tell you this, Ecclesiasticus says, the more for much wisdom, knowledge, understanding we gain, the more sorrow and grief come with it. So you can see the sorrow and grief when Yahusha was on his knees asking the Father, the Most High Abba, to take the cup from him. So we have to be as contrite and humble and filled with the utmost humility as Yahusha HaMashiach was in the times of chastisement. Everybody got that? In the times of open rebuke and reproof and correction, we need to be an intricate piece of that puzzle and not be a part of the problem. Not get up in the way and be a stumbling block and make more issues arise. Because you can't solve a problem with a problem. That just creates more problems. All right, guys and gals? Okay. Let's go over to Isaiah 57 now. Isaiah 57, verse 16 to 18. Yeah. 16 to 18. It reads, For I would not strive forever, nor am I wroth forever, for the spirit would grow faint before me, even the beings I have made. For the crookedness of his unfair gain I was wroth, and I struck him. I concealed myself and was wroth, and he went on backsliding in the way of his heart. I have seen his ways, but now I heal him, and I lead him, and restore comforts to him and to his mourners. Let's gather that witness right here. For I will contend forever. Now hear that. Neither will I always be wroth, for the spirit should fail before me. And the souls which I have made for the iniquity of his covetousness was I wroth and smote him. I hid me and was wroth, and he went on frowardly in the way of his heart. I have seen his ways and will heal him. I will lead him also and restore comforts unto him and to his mourners. See, he's a high and mighty Alua, all of him. You know, he breaks down, but he builds back up. See what I'm talking about? He can tear down, but he can build back up. Build back better. And that's ultimately what we want, because there ain't no peace for the wicked. There ain't no peace for the evil. The evildoers. You know what I'm talking about? So there ain't no peace for the wicked one. That's why he don't never rest. He knows he has but a short time. But that's not the point of this study. But the point of this study is Yahuwah is high and mighty enough to punish, chastise, ground, correct, reproof, and rebuke us, but it's also high and mighty enough to forgive and grant peace. See what I'm saying? Shalom. He's also high and mighty enough to forgive transgression, to blot it out. And we ourselves can be blotted out. You know, if we're not careful with our dealings, you know, with our comings and our goings, with our ins and our outs, with the do's and the don'ts, and everything else in between. So, with all that being said, it's like he can pardon. Yahuwah can pardon, but he also can afflict wrath. He can afflict some wrath. He can afflict anger too. So we shouldn't take his kindness for weakness, is what I'm getting at here. You follow me? And it's so much more to it. You know, he has everlasting kindness, but he also can put you in everlasting torment too, if it comes to that. You know, he has an everlasting contract, an agreement that you can either choose to do obediently or choose not to do disobediently. And the list goes on and on and on. You got those that want to remain dumb and stupid and foolish and naive and ignorant and stiff-necked. And then you got those who are pursuing righteousness, are pursuing peace, that are pursuing salvation, that are pursuing deliverance. So I just want to put that out there. Okay? All right. Let's do Jeremiah now. We're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 2. Jeremiah chapter 2. And let's read verse 19 to 30. Okay, let's do that. Right? Chapter 2. Let's go to 19. Your own evil instructs you, and your backsliders reprove you. See that? There's that word reprove. Instruct, reprove. There's chastisement right there in one sentence. Know therefore and see that it is evil and bitter that you have forsaken Yahuwah your Elohim, and that my fear is not in you, declares the Master Yahuwah of hosts. For of old I have broken your yoke and torn off your chastisements, and you said, I am not serving you, when on every high hill and under every green tree you lay down a whore. Yet I had planted you a choice vine, all of it a true seed. How then have you turned before me into the degenerate plant of a strange vine? Although you wash yourself with lye and use much soap, yet your crookedness is ingrained before me, declares the Master Yahuwah. How do you say I am not defiled? I have not gone after the Baals. See your way in the valley. Know what you have done. A swift dromedary breaking loose in her ways. A wild donkey used to the wilderness, sniffing the wind in the desire of her being, and in her time of mating, who turns her away. All those who seek her need not weary themselves. In her month they find her. Keep your foot from being bare, and your throat from thirst. But you said, it is useless because I love strangers, and after them I go. As the thief is ashamed when he is found out, so is the house of Yasharal ashamed. They and their sovereigns and their heads and their priests and their prophets, saying to a tree, you are my father, and to a stone, you gave birth to me. For they have turned their back to me and not their face. But in the time of their calamity, they say, arise and save us. But where are your mighty ones that you have made for yourselves? Ooh. Let them arise, see if they save you in the time of your calamity, because your mighty ones have become as many as your cities, O Yahudah. Why do you complain to me? See that? You all have transgressed against me, declares Yahuwah. In vain have I stricken your children. They receive no instruction. Your sword has devoured your prophets like a destroying lion. Let me pause right there. I was about to keep going. I almost got I was taken away with the word there. I was yes. That felt amazing to read that. But y'all heard how deep that went. How deep that went. It's a tale of two evils. You know, when Yasharal went astray, Yehuda in specific, right? Particularly, it's he's like we're like a withered vine. You know, we're like a withered branch. One that's like in the winter, that fades away and shrivels up and dies when it gets cold outside. He was saying we're like that. And he was talking about Yasharal's transgression, you know, against him. And he was speaking of the very things that he would do to chastise that, to punish that, to rebuke and reproof and correct that, you know, by the means of his ways and his will. Because his reign is going to reign supreme over all else. And I can't put it any more plainly than that. Simple, easy peasy. We cannot expect to serve and praise and honor and worship and esteem and exalt other mighty ones, other ELSs and LRDs and GDs and all this, and expect to get in the gates. He's not going to know who he is. He's not going to know us, because he's only one. And then everybody else is knockoff. You know, how many? It's so many GDs. It's like, which one are you speaking of? Which one are you talking about? And so Yahuwah doesn't want us to fade away and be led astray or go out of his jurisdiction, go outside of his justice, because then you can't keep Belial off of you. You can't keep Belial off of you if you're not under Yahuwah's agreement, Yahuwah's contract. You know, if you're his children, you're his people, you're his sons and his daughters, you need to return to him with all your strength, with all your heart, with all your might, with all your power, with all your body, soul, vessel, and temple. And repent and return back to where you belong. So that makes sense? Perfect. Let's do Jeremiah chapter 30. Yeah, let's do Jeremiah chapter 30. Verse 11 to 14, everyone. Hopefully this is very compelling and very eye-opening for you all, as much as it is for me as well, because I always learn something new too when I dive in and dig deep. So let's read verse 11 to 14 now. Here we go. For I am with you, declares Yahuwah, to save you. Though I make a complete end of all nations where I have scattered you, yet I do not make a complete end of you. But I shall reprove you, there's that word, in judgment, and by no means leave you unpunished. For thus said Yahuwah, your breach is incurable, your wound is grievous. No one pleads your cause to bind up. There are no healing medicines for you. All those loving you have forgotten you. They do not seek you, for I struck you as an enemy strikes with cruel chastisement. You see that? Because your crookedness is great, your sins have increased. Oh man, it goes even deeper. Why do you cry about your breach? Your pain is incurable. Because of your many crookednesses, because your sins have increased, I have done this to you. Woo! I feel the flames coming off that page. Now, let's go to the witness right here. What did we just read? 30, 11 and 14? Yes. This is the time of trouble. Y'all remember? You have to return to the promised land. You got to return to whom you were meant to be, whom you were predestined and designated to be. During the time of Jacob's time, in those days, in this book of Jeremiah, in chapter 30, he was telling Jacob about the fear and trembling. The fear and trembling of Yahuwah. And how there'll be unrest or there can be rest. Right? For following his ways or not following his ways. That's the chastisement right there. And there can be destruction upon the land, or there could be, peace upon the land. Because there's not going to be no peace if y'all remain in trouble. If y'all remain in trouble, there's not going to be no peace. So, that's why when he calls us back, one by one and two by two, he's rebuilding Yerushalayim. For the new heaven and the new earth that's to come, that's what he's doing. But, take everything for what it's worth. Take it with a grain of salt. If you go down in, sin and transgression and iniquity and crookednesses and wrongdoings and shortcomings and wickedness, if you go down in that, he's saying it shall not go unpunished. He's telling us right here, right there, that is not gonna go, unpunished. Like he's gonna reprove and rebuke and correct and chastise. Okay? All right. Even though, and he was explaining why he scattered us. In the first place. He can save us, but he also can give us over. You know what I'm saying? To that reprobated mind. That carnal mind. That fleshy, mindset, mind frame, mentality. If we're so disillusioned, if we're so, caught up in the disillusions and the illusions and the, you know what I'm saying? If we get caught up in all of that, then he's gonna let us be that. I'm your master, either Baal is your master. Simple and plain. So, you can't serve both. It's one or the other. And this is you can't make this up. It's right in the fine print, right here in black and white. Let's do the next chapter over. Jeremiah 31, verse 18 to 20. Okay? Let's do that now. I have clearly heard Ephraim lamenting, which is crying, weeping, mourning. You have chastised me, there's that word, and I was chastised like an untrained calf. Turn me back, there it is, and I shall turn back, for you are Yahuwah, my Elohim. Look at that. For after my turning back, I repented, and after I was instructed, I struck myself on the thigh. I was ashamed, even humiliated, for I bore the approach of my youth. Is Ephraim a precious son to me, a child of delights? For though I spoke against him, I still remembered him. That is why my affections were deeply moved for him. I have great compassion for him, declares Yahuwah. Let's take a look at the witness over here. Verse 18 to 20. And there it is. He had his mercy on the tribe of Ephraim yet again. He chastised them, and they were brought back to the fold, brought back to the flock, brought back to the pasture, repented of their ways, repented of their deeds and actions and desires and thoughts, and you know what I'm saying, wits about them. It is right there. The chastisement is on display. This is what it's going to take for a lot of us out here who are fighting amongst ourselves, bickering, fussing, arguing, disputing, having debacles, having democracies, having debates. This is what it's going to have to take. You got to get your teaching from above before you can see what Yahuwah has done with somebody else. You can't understand, overstand, or discern, or comprehend. You can't even begin to do any of that, just grabbing the gist and grasping the concepts until you've been taught from above. Till you've been taught by Yahuwah, nothing is going to make sense to you that someone else tells you. Nothing's going to make sense to you about what someone else is preaching on or giving a sermon about. Because that's what Yahuwah specifically did with them. That he specifically designed that for them. He gave them that purpose and that plan for their future and their hope. You can't steal that. You got to do it. You got to gain it and earn it and study for yourself and to show yourself proof and research for your own self. Okay? But the mercy, yet again, of Yahuwah, the compassion that he had on us, that he has on us, is on display yet again. He demonstrated it, expressed it, showed it countless times over. Several occasions, numerous times. How much more, and how much longer he's gonna shed mercy? It's winding down. It's coming down to a close. We're getting short on time. So we gotta do it now. It's now or never. Let's go to Jeremiah 46. And And when I say now or never, I mean that metaphorically speaking. I mean that as an oxymoron, like a hyperbole, like a hyperbole. You know what I mean? Like an analogy. There's no better time than now. Or there will be a time where you'll never get to do it. Either or. You know? Jeremiah 46 and verse is 28. Do not fear, O Jacob, my servant, declares Yahweh, for I am with you. Though I make a complete end of all the nations to which I have driven you, yet I do not make a complete end of you. There's a witness. We read one earlier, remember? But I shall reprove you in right ruling, and by no means leave you unpunished. 46. Let's go to the witness. Verse number 28. Same deal. It's like the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has to turn back. The seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob needs to know that we ought to turn back. Turn back. Because if you don't turn back, you will be punished, grounded, chastised, corrected, reproved, and rebuked if you don't turn back. Everybody understand that? Is that understood? Okay. All right. So let's go over here and do some more. Let's do some of the letters of Shaul a little bit. You know, just to follow up, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 32. Chapter 11, verse 32. But when we are judged, we are disciplined by the master, that we should not be condemned with the world. Let's get over here to the witness now. Go back a little bit. What we say? 1 Corinthians chapter 11, right? And verse number 32. But when we are judged, we are chastened of Alua Alahim, that we should not be condemned with the world. Which means this. This is the destiny. This is the fate that Yahuwah desires for us to have. Like, this is where we should be, you know, caught up in his love, his words. We should be too busy, you know, cleaving and clinging to him. We should be too busy catering to him than to even be paying attention to what the world got going on. The world gonna fade away and pass away, but not his word, you know? So, you know, let that sink in. Let that stick to y'all's conscience for a second, right? Let's skip over to 2 Corinthians now. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. Chapter 6, verse number 9. As unknown and yet well known, as dying and see we live, as disciplined and yet not killed. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9. Same deal. It's like giving no offense in anything. No recompense. Because we gotta understand, like, giving account is everything that we've ever said or done. It's like slander, profanity, cussing, swear words, idle words. We got to give an account. So, and this is what this is saying right here. What is unknown, what is known, what is conscious, unconscious, what is seen, not seen, what is heard, not heard, will come to the forefront, will come to the light. It's anything that we've done here, do it. Let's do it unto Yahuwah. Let's do it towards Yahuwah. That's what it's all about. What we say and do has to be a replicate, a reflection of Him. Anything else other than that, unacceptable. He's going to take offense to that. See what I'm saying? So, food for thought. Food for thought. And while I'm over here, why don't I just go to Hebrews chapter 12, right? And read verse 5 through 11. Let's go over there real quick. Hebrews chapter is 12. Chapter 12, verse 5 through 11. And you have forgotten the appeal which speaks to you as to sons. My son, do not despise the discipline of Yahuwah, nor faint when you are reproved by him. For whom Yahuwah loves, he disciplines, and flogs every son whom he receives. Right? If you endure discipline, Alua Elohim is treating you as sons. For what son is there whom a father does not discipline? But if you are without discipline, of which all have become sharers, then you are illegitimate and not sons. Moreover, we indeed have fathers of our flesh disciplining us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much rather be subject to the Father of spirits and live? For they indeed disciplined us for a few days as seemed best to them, but he does it for our profit, so that we might share his apartness. And indeed no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but grievous. But afterward it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Let's get that witness right here. Sorry about that noise. Airport's nearby. Airplane going by. Pay it no mind. This is clearly Yahuwah telling us that he is the author and finisher of our faith. He start that great work, right? That good work in you. He's gonna finish it to the day of Yahushua HaMashiach, right? And then he's telling us to long suffer, be patient in the long suffering. Fruit of the Ruah, right? HaKadesh. Endure the chastisement. Endure the reproof. Endure the correction. Endure the rebuke. Endure the punishment. Endure the grounding. Because this is what chastisement does. It grounds you. It grounds you in his word, his right ruling, his righteousness, his truth, his way, his will, his business. That's what it does. That's exactly what it does. And if you got any questions, comments, concerns about that, leave it in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Let's let's take it back a little more. Let's go over here to was it Haggai? Yes. Let's go over to Haggai. Haggai. Yeah, let's do that. 633. Page 633. Boom. Haggai. Chapter 2, verse 17. And it reads, I struck you with blight and mildew and hail and all the labors of your hands, and there was none of you with me, declares Yahuwah. 728. Go to the back. Right. Verse 17. It's I smote you with blasting and with mildew and with hail and all the labors of your hands, yet ye turned not to me, saith Allur Elohim. So that's Yahuwah passing the chastisement, the open reproof and correction, the open rebuke, and the judgment on uncleanness, on defilement of Yahudah, of Yasharal. When their ways displease him, disappoint him. Again, there's gonna be a harsh reality to face, a harsh judgment to face. Like a lot of us that deal with each other, right? In that brother sisterhood, right? And we deal harshly with each other. It's like it's not out of hatred, it's out of love. It's not out of dislike. You know what I'm saying? It's out of love. And you think Yahuwah is gonna take it lightly on us? Absolutely not. Especially not those that don't know him. Especially those that don't like him, that don't claim him, that hate him, that smite him, that struck him, that pierced him. They're really gonna get judged harshly. And we can't let that be us. We don't need to be in comparison with them. We don't need to be in the same merit, same breath as the world. That should be a whole, just like the verse we read, so we don't get condemned. The condemnation that's coming to the world of indisciplined, disobedient, unclean, and defiled people. I'm just saying. It's just the nature of it, right? I'm going to mark that off. Let's continue. Lamentation. We can do lamentation too. We sure can. Lamentation. Yep. However, Ruach is moving me today. We got Lamentations 1 and 5 here, and it reads, her adversaries have become chief, her enemies have become at ease, for Yahuwah has afflicted her because of her many transgressions. Her children have gone into captivity before the enemy. Let's get the witness. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get the witness here. Let's get the witness. Bear with me. And that's chapter 1 of Lamentations, verse 5. And it goes, yep. This is a solitary, this is solitude of Yahuwah speaking. This is Yerushalayim. This is all of what Yahuwah says he will do. Should this city continue in its, should I say, rampage? Should it continue to deal treacherously, dirty, right? Filthy, grimy, slimy, trifling, conniving, right? Like the slime ball, like a slime bag, right? He's warning and passing judgment as it will take place if they keep on going the route they was going. Even to this very day. Those that are whores, you know what I'm saying, fornicators, those who are lustful, dealing with deadly sins. There's like 7 of them. Yahuwah is pleased with pleasant things. He's not pleased with transgression. He's not pleased with, things that are not of him. Things that are not from above. So this is just, I had to read this. I was led to it. Had to read it. Yeah, because Yahuwah has experience with sorrow. As I've said before, he has experiences with anger. He has experiences with wrath, with wrath. He has experiences with destroying temple. He destroyed the temple that Samson was in when he gave him his sight back one last time to beat those that cut his hair off and all of that because of Delilah. The destruction, the ruin, it is. But Yahuwah has a heart that he doesn't want to do that, but if he absolutely has to, he will, beloveds. So I just want to put that out there. Okay? Chastisement. Hosea. Let's visit Hosea. Shall we do that? Let's. Hosea. Let's visit it. And the chapter is 7. Verse number 12. Make sure I pull the witness up too. 7 and 12. Pull that up. Boom, right there. Now let's get it. When they go, I spread my net over them. I bring them down like the birds of the heavens. I chastise them as their congregation has heard. Pull the witness up. When they shall go, I will spread my net upon them. I will bring them down as the fowls of the heaven. I will chastise them as their congregation have heard. So, Yahuwah remembered what Yasharal's evil tree was. Like he remembers what their wickednesses were. He knew what to repay them had the activity kept up. He knew what judgment to bring upon that discretion, that discrepancy that Yasharal had in that time. But again, in order for us to not be openly rebuked and reproved and corrected and grounded and punished, put in time out, in order for us to not be chastised, we gotta repent. We gotta repent and return to Alua Elohim, return to the ancient path, the ancient road. And we're going to stay right here. We're going to stay put. Let's go to chapter 10 and verse 10. We show are. Right? We're going to do it. And here it is. When I desire, then I bind them, and peoples shall be gathered against them when I bind them for their double guilt. The witness here, it is in my desire that I should chastise them, and the people shall be gathered against them when they shall bind themselves in their two furrows. So, Yahuwah is telling us right there, like, if he gotta chastise you, you an empty vessel. You're an empty person. Your character empty, your temperament empty, your attitude empty. You an incurable person. You're like an incurable illness, incurable sickness, incurable disease. You're an empty character. You're an empty body. Empty man, empty woman, empty child, whatever have you. You're empty all together, all tall. If he gotta continue to chastise you, he'd rather love on you than chastise you. Is what I'm getting at here. He rather love on you, cause guess what? If you're disobedient, he gotta chastise you. If you're indisciplined, he gotta chastise you. If you an idolater, if you idolizing, if you in idolatry, he gotta chastise you. And he rather just love on you. He rather you return to him. Return to his reign, return to his right ruling, return to his righteousness, return to his truth, which is in his words, by way of the Messiah, through the Messiah, Mashiach, Yahusha, HaMashiach. Return to Alua Elohim. Today, right now, right this very second, right this very minute, right this very hour. Return. Return to Yahuwah. Return. Let's go to Job. Let's do Job for a little bit. Job chapter 5. Right. And the verse is 17. Let's do that. Get the witness. And get the witness too. You follow me? Job. Let's read. Look, Baruch is the man whom Alua Elohim does reprove. So do not despise the discipline of the Almighty. Y'all heard that loud and clear, didn't you? I know I did. Get my witness here. On chapter 5, in verse 17. Righteousness, Yahuwah loves. He loves it. Faithfulness, he loves it. Great is his faithfulness, Baruch, Yahuwah, forever and ever. Yada Yahuwah. He can't bear to see his children disobeying. It's unbearable for him. Yet, he does chastise his children. It says, behold, happy is the man whom Yahuwah correcteth. Therefore, despise not thou the chastisement of the Almighty. Chastisement is a requirement. How else are we going to improve and get better and be solidified? How else are we going to grow in our faith, in our amanah, right? Without his chastisement, without his disciplinary acts, so that we can be obedient to him, so that we may be obedient in obedience to him. Okay? This is real deep stuff. Very deep. I had to go long. I had to go long for this one. It just is what it is. Let's do Job 33 now. Verse 19. And he is reproved with pain on his bed and with unceasing distress in his bones. Pull that witness up with that. He is chastened also with pain upon his bed, and the multitude of his bones with strong pain. Yahuwah is showcasing his might, his power, his splendor, his grandeur, his allure, his beauty. Yahuwah is greatness. Great and faithful is he. We ought to choose him rather than judgment. We ought to choose him rather than chastisement. We ought to choose righteousness rather than judgment. We ought to choose Yahuwah rather than the ways of man. You understand? So, keep that in mind. All right. Let's take it to 2 Chronicles. Let's do that. 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles. And the verse is, or the chapter is 6. 2 Chronicles, chapter 6. Boom. And verse 24 to 31. So, and if your people, Yasar, are smitten before an enemy because they have sinned against you, and they shall turn back and confess your name and pray and make supplication before you in this house, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your people, Yasharal, and bring them back to the land which you gave to them and their fathers. When the heavens are shut up and there is no rain because they have sinned against you, and they shall pray toward this place and confess your name and turn from their sin because you afflict them, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your servants, your people, Yasharal, for you teach them the great way, the good way, in which they shall walk, and shall send rain on your land, which you have given to your people as an inheritance. When there is scarcity of food in the land, when there is pestilence or blight or mildew, locusts or grasshoppers, when their enemies distress them in the land of their cities, any plague or any sickness, whatever prayer, whatever supplication is made by anyone or by all your people, Yasharal, when each one knows his own plague and his own grief, and spreads out his hands to this house, then hear from the heavens your dwelling place, and forgive, and give to everyone according to all his ways, whose heart you know. For you alone know the hearts of the sons of men, so that they fear you to walk in your ways as long as they live in the land which you gave to our fathers. Beautiful. Beautifully written, beautifully said, isn't it? Wouldn't you agree? 370. And let's see. Let's get to the witness. I want to do chapter 6, right? Yahuwah promises to be a house and home to us, a shelter to us, a strong tower to us, that we can run to him. He's going to keep his promises. He's going to keep his contract. He's going to keep his agreement. And if you're outside of his judgment, outside of the chastisement, then he will hear your prayers. He will hear your prayers. You know, he will hearken and he will listen. You see what I'm talking about? Yahuwah is our resting place. You follow me? His esteem and his exaltation fills us up. It fills our temple. It fills our vessel. It fills our mind, body, and heart, soul, and spirit. You have to understand. That's what he does. Yahuwah will make the sacrifice to heal you if you return to him and repent. He will hear from you if you turn to him and repent. With all you got, with all you have, with everything within you, with every fiber of your being, with every bone in your body. That's what you have to do. We're going to stay right here. Let's go to chapter 7 of 2 Chronicles and read verse 13 and 14. And it says, if I shut up the heavens and there is no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, and my people upon whom my name is called shall humble themselves and pray, Palal, and seek my face, and turn from their evil ways, then I shall hear from the heavens and forgive their sin and heal their land. Y'all heard that? Beautifully spoken, beautifully said again by the Most High Abba Yahuwah. What we say? 13 and 14, right? If I shut up the heaven, yep, there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my... Yes, it's like Yahuwah is the one that builds us up on solid rock, on solid ground. Yahushua HaMashiach. He's the one that can restitute, revitalize. He's the one that gives the reprieve. He's the one. He's the representation. He's the only one that can keep us honest, can keep us modest, can keep us from hurt, harm, or danger, from hiccups, from issues, from trouble. He's the only one that can keep the wicked off of you. He's the only one that can keep the evil away from you. Let's visit 2 Samuel. Let's do that. Why don't we do that? 2 Samuel. Yep. 2 Samuel. Pull that up. And chapter is number 7. We'll do verse 14 and 15. Make sure I got my witness ready. Samuel. Yes. 2 Samuel. Yes. 7. 14. 15. I am to be his father, and he is my son. If he does perversely, I shall reprove him with the rod of men and with the blows of the sons of men. But my loving commitment does not turn aside from him, as I turned it aside from Shaul, whom I removed from before you. Let's go and get the witness. Yes. I will be his father, shall be his son. Yep. If he commit iniquity, Shalakia, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away from before thee. See, Yahuwah he's cleaning up, the kingdom. He's tidying up. It's like organizational skills. Neatness, tidiness, cleanliness. And Yahuwah's got a message. He had a message for those kings back then, for them priests back then, for the scribes, Sadducees, Pharisees back then, for the apostles back then, for the disciples back then, for his followers back then, for the tribes back then. And he's got a message for us too. And we got to get our kingdom right. Like this, we got to treat this physical form, this human form, like it's a sanctuary, like it's a temple, like it's a kingdom already. That's what we got to do. We got to rid ourselves of fleshiness, dying to the flesh, killing the flesh, taking the old man down, putting the old man down, the former self, burying it. Let's make our making creator job easier. Let's be responsible. Let's be accountable for ourselves, for others, for our families, for our sisters and brothers in arms. Because that's our duty. That's our obligation. Just like it states right here. Or Yahuwah can strip us, strike us down with the rod. Give us over to men, our oppressors, our enemies, our adversaries. You know, he stripped King Saul of his kinsmanship. He can strip us of what he's given to us. All of us have spiritual gifts. All of us are special and unique in our own way that he's made us, beautifully, wonderfully made, wonderfully, fearfully made. You know, he can take it back. The Ruach HaKodesh is not ours. We like to say, I, me, my, but it's never been ours. It's Yahuwah's. The set apart Kadesh spirit is belongs to him. So, you know, keep that in your thinking caps too. Everybody's on borrowed time. You know, time is a winding. Let's see. Just like an hourglass, you turn the hourglass upside down, slowly but surely, it drains down to the bottom. Revelation. Chazon. We're going to go over there to chapter 3. You hear me? Chapter 3, verse 19. Got my witness. Boom. Flip one more. All right. As many as I love, I reprove, and discipline. So be ardent and repent. The time is now. More so now than it ever has been to repent. Yesterday, day before yesterday, last week, last month, 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6 months ago, a year ago, year and a half ago, repent. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, repent. And he's speaking to the assembly. Laodicea, but the assembly, the church, we the assembly, we the temple. And he's speaking to us richly. You know? So we gotta hearken to his voice too. Not just looking for him to hearken to our voice alone. We gotta hearken his voice alone too. You know? The time is now. The throne has been established. And he's gonna establish his throne in heaven and on earth. So we need to be ready for that. We need to be aware and alert. And alert others and to make them aware and set the tone, set the pace. Plant those seeds, sow those seeds as only we can. All for Yahuwah. It's all about Yahuwah. Let's take it to the Torah to close this out. Leviticus 26. Leviticus 26 and 28. That's what we're going to do. '26 and 28. Beautiful. Okay, let's read that. Then I shall walk contrary to you in wrath, and I myself shall punish you 7 times for your sins. Let's pull that up in the witness right here. This is what happened when there was disobedience in the land of inheritance in Yerushalayim, back there in the tribal days. And he's reassembling, he's repackaging that. He's gathering all those scattered across the four corners of the earth abroad, right? The abandonment, the betrayal, the switch for disobedience, for the ones that went astray, for the ones that went their own way, for the ones that, and this is not talking about the ones that, remember his contract and agreement. This is not for the ones that remember the oaths and the pledges and the vows and all that stuff. The vows, the oaths, and the pledges. He's not talking to the ones that's been devoted to him this whole time, to Allah Elohim. He's talking about the sinners, the disobedient ones, right there in Leviticus, the ones he had to chastise. I got it written real big up here. Let me show y'all. I know y'all can see. Y'all probably can't see it from that far away, but you see that? I got it written at the top of the page right there. Chastisement. See that? Yep. So, that's what was made mention here in verse 28 of chapter 26 of Leviticus. Seven times. It's like the number of completion. 7 times would he punish, ground, openly reproof, openly correct, openly rebuke, and openly chastise disobedience for abandoning his Torah, his Tanakh, his laws, statutes, commandments, his right ruling, his righteousness, his truth, which is in his word, by way of the Messiah, through the Messiah, Mashiach, Yahusha, HaMashiach. Just make note of that, Now, annotate that for those who are taking notes and writing it down. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Lastly, but not least, Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse number 5. Thus you shall know in your heart that as a man disciplines his son, so Yahuwah, your Allah Elohim, disciplines you. Ooh. Right? Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his own son, his son, Shalakia. So Allah Elohim, Yahuwah, chasten thee. Even when we're going through this spiritual warfare, spiritual battles, spiritual fights, this spiritual wilderness that we're in, Yahuwah is still right there in the thick of it. He's still right there in the middle. He's still right there in the center. You have to keep him there. Don't toss him aside like how they did in Leviticus. You gotta stay in agreement. Stay in compliance. He cares for us more than we'll ever know. No words have been invented to describe or explain how much he cares. So even when we're going through the motions out here and we're progressing through it and we're trusting the process and the procedure that's at hand, that's at stake, we can always trust and hope and be confident in our amanah, in our faith, in his care for us. Even though, even though we're chastened, he considers the hearts of those that cares about him. He knows who cares about him. He knows who loves him. So, y'all, remember that. Don't forget. Now, let's do Deuteronomy chapter 11. One more hoorah. Verse number 2. And you shall know today, for it is not your children who have not known and who have not seen the discipline of Yahuwah, your Elohim Elohim, his greatness, his strong hand, and his outstretched arm. Let me go over here. And know ye this day, for I speak not with your children, which have not known and which have not seen the chastisement of Yahuwah, your Elohim Elohim, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his stretched out arm. This is Yahuwah's greatness on display again. His acts of kindness and his loving kindness, loving commitment, loving compassion. And he doesn't love sin. He doesn't love transgression, iniquity. He doesn't love transgression. He doesn't love wrongdoing. He doesn't love shortcomings. He don't even love to chastise us, but it's like we force his hand. It's like we make him. We put him in that state of flux. We took it there. Like we, you know what I mean? He don't even want to be there. But it's like his acts of favor is a beautiful sight to see. He said he not even speaking with the children that have not known or have not seen his chastisement. He's speaking to those that already in his presence. He's talking to the ones that know the requirements already. He's talking about the ones that's on the journey already. He's talking about the ones that love him and he know already. The ones that seen him in action, seen the pestilence, seen the wrath. You know what I'm saying? Seen him at work, seen the rain, seen the harvest, seen him destroy places and things like that. Seen him, sacrifice. Seen him choose, handpicked. Choose those that are fit for the task, fit for the job. He's talking to the ones that were on that idol worship. That's who he's talking to. You follow me? Because if you keep on reading, and his signs and his works which he had done in the midst of Mizraim, Egypt, to Pharaoh, sovereign Mizraim, and to all the land, like he was showing all of them signs and wonders and miracles. He was showing it all before he even had to rear back with the rod, before he even had to strike or smite anything. You know, he was already ticked off. Like he was already pissed. The ones that already seen him ticked off and already seen him pissed off know what he's exceedingly abundantly capable of. You know, he wasn't speaking to just these children right there. He was talking to them rogues and them loners and them rebels and them revilers. It was a call. It was an act and a call to the sinners. And that's where chastisement, you know, comes in at. It's always to refine, you know, retune, refurbish the people, the children, the nations, the ones he calls sons and daughters. You know, make no mistake about it. But this will conclude my lesson on today of chastisement, right? You know, think of it like this, right? When we are chastised for things that are out of our control, then I can see when we can be, oh, that's in the interest of fairness, that's not fair, or, you know, the intriguing and interesting part of, you know, chastisement is what happens after you've been chastised. You know, usually 9 times out of 10, when it comes to Yahusha, 10 times out of 10, you're gonna heal from it. Like, the truth first hurts, then heals. You know, it's like it's designed to put you back on track, put you on the right track, get you on the giddy up, get you on the good foot. You know, right foot, left foot, right. Get you back on that hut choo, get you back on the straight and narrow, because straight is the gate. You know, that only few find. You know, and we have to be bold with it. You know, we're going to have to be bold with it in this season, in season, out of season. And hopefully everybody out there looking at this can take something away from this, can, you know, spread it around, share it, repost it, like and comment if you may, if you like. And this has been Emmanuel. It's been a privilege and an honor, you know, to have the opportunity, have the chance, to have the shot to sit here once again and to pour out what's been poured into me from on high, from above, by the Almighty One himself, the Most High Abba Yahweh, through Yahusha, by way of Yahusha, in the namesake of Yahusha, HaMashiach, the Messiah, Mashiach. So help me. Let it be so. So shall it be, so be it. You know, with that being said, Kwam Yasharal, shalom to all of the ones that's coming back in, trickling in, the new ones that's showing up, popping up. Tuda Ata, I thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I'm grateful, and it's beautiful. This is Yafa to do, you know, the work of Abba Yahuwah for his business, and I hope that you all have a beautiful and highly favored Baruch Yom and a Gadol, Gadol, rest of your week. Barak Shabua, Baruch Atah, Yahusha HaMashiach, Baruch Hashem, Yahusha HaMashiach. So, to all of my Akis and Akudis, may Yahusha continue to reign supreme over your life and put him first. And may everything you say and do be of him, for him, and about him. May he guard your coming in and going out. May he watch over, look after, shield, cover, and protect you. Shield you with a hedge of protection by his angels and messengers, Malachim, over your house and home, and over your sleep, over your rest, that you may, become more acquainted and become more astute and become closer and draw near, draw nigh to Yahuwah. Through his being, his bond, his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. And I'd like to converse with you guys even longer, but this is the end of the study. And until the next time, the Ruah guides me, aids me, leads me, assists me to be here. That's when I'll be here again. Until then, Yahuwah, Yahusha, be with you, be upon you, uphold you, keep you, uplift you, raise you up and bring you up in his glimmering, shining, bright light forever and always. So, Barak Yahuwah forevermore. Yada Yahuwah forever and always. I'm Emmanuel, and I'm signing out, checking out of here. Shalom.